Hey, what's up, ladies and germs? It's your boy Danny. I'm here to make a quick video on nutrition facts and ingredients labels. Now, there's a few things that companies can be deceptive on to, try and convince us to buy products, and there's a few secrets that are good to know when you're really looking at ingredients and you're really looking at counting calories or carbohydrates or whatever. Now these are Lucky Charms treat bars. Now these aren't the healthiest thing in the world, but I have eaten these as like a quick breakfast. When I've been going to work. It's not the worst thing in the world. It gives you a good amount of sugar and a good amount of carbohydrates to give you a good amount of energy. But yeah, let's get right into this. Now the first thing we are going to look at is the nutrition facts and the serving sizes and the servings per container. Now, the only thing that could really be deceptive about this is that you really need to look at serving sizes because let's say, for example, like a bag of chips. I know that like there's bags of chips that are obviously like one person will just destroy the bag, but what they do is they put servings per container too. Or on like pop, I've seen it done before on pop. They'll have serving size too, but obviously it's like you're gonna eat the whole thing, or you're like it's they make the serving size less to make the nutrition facts look more because people are more likely just to look at how much carbs or how much fat is in there in comparison to how many servings are in the container. So now if the serving size here is 1 bar, now if the company was like, okay, now I don't know how the laws are with this, but if the company's like, okay, well, serving size is actually half a bar, well, then these nutrition facts are going to be half as much, and then you might be more likely to purchase and eat these without knowing that the serving size is half the bar. All right, now we're going to get into the bread and butter of the nutrition facts label. All right, so a few things to note on here as a base. It says that the total fat is 3 grams. Now, that the way that nutrition facts labels work is that you never see decimal points. Okay? Now, companies either round up or round down depending on what it is. So, if the total fat in 1 bar is 3.4 grams, they can round it down to 3 grams. Now, I mean, if you eat 2 of these, that's an extra total gram of fat, basically, that you're eating that you didn't even know. Now, if it's total fat is 3.7, or like, now this could be 2.7 grams of fat, and they just had to round it up to 3. That's why you really kind of have to really think about and do some mental math. Now, I mean, you just have to look like this. This is a milk product. So I assume that it's going to have more fat. So I would assume that this is on the higher side instead of the lower side because, again, it's a sugar milk product. So I'd say that maybe that's on the range of 3.1 to at least 3.3 grams of fat. And now with sugars, now I know same thing with sugars. Now there's a really deceptive thing that Tic Tacs do. I almost said TikTok. Jesus. There's a deceptive little thing that Tic Tacs do. Now, the serving size is 1 mint, if I'm not mistaken. It's 1 mint, and each 1 mint has less than 0.5 grams of sugar, which means that they can round down to 0 sugar, so they can legally say that it is a sugar-free food. I think even though there's no, it can be up to 0.4 sugar per mint. So if you eat a whole box of Tic Tacs, don't think you're eating 0 sugar. You're probably eating about close to 10 grams of sugar if I would have to make an educated guess. And it's not because I was looking at this. I was actually looking somewhere else. Now, vitamins, like, yeah, you're going to get all your vitamins. More vitamins are better than less vitamins. It's not like, if, thiamine is going to fucking hurt you. They're vitamins. Fun fact, actually, cereal products, and I think bread products too, are fortified with vitamins ever since World War II, I think. Because I think they're putting them for the soldiers. I don't know. They put it around World War II, and it's all cereal is fortified now. They add these. But one more thing I also want to talk about is fats. because now you can see here there's saturated fat, trans fats, there's mono unsaturated fats. Now, no fats are good, I don't think, but saturated fats and mono unsaturated fats are the quote unquote better fats. Now, you'll find like mono unsaturated fats and all that a lot in like peanuts or nuts and stuff. Trans fats, no, you want to stay away from trans fats. Just think of trans fat is that crazy person in the back of the fucking room. You just want to stay away from them, just shit. If you trans fat, trans fats is a person in the dark alley that's gonna stab you. Okay, so now lastly we are on to the ingredients. Now this might be a weird item to choose considering it's about weight loss, but this channel is about weight loss, but I couldn't really find a picture that really had everything because I was looking at like nutrition facts labels, ingredients on Google, and I couldn't find anything with everything I wanted. But the one thing I really wanted to talk about in the ingredients label, and the one thing that made me make this video that I just found out, is you see this thing right here? That's not what I want to do. Okay, well, I'm just going to move this real quick. You see this thing right here? Contains 2% of less of? That is one of the most misleading things I've ever seen on a fucking label. Okay, now, what I mean by misleading is that, let's say that this is a bit higher. I know if you read through ingredients, you'll see like blah, 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 and then like in the middle, it's like 2% or less of, and then there's like 40 fucking ingredients, okay? And now what I was thinking, I was like, oh, okay, so literally like, let's say all these ingredients down here. Let's say all these ingredients down here, you think, okay, the vegetable glycerin, the maltodextrin, the sorbitol, the calcium carbonate, the gelatin, salt, and artificial flavor. Okay, now I was thinking that, all those things all those things combined are 2% of what's in the product. That is not the case, okay? The case, what it actually means is that each one of these ingredients, like the vegetable glycerin, for example, there's 2% of it or less in the product of its, like the vegetable glycerin itself. Now, for an example, that could mean that the vegetable glycerin has 1.8% of it, maltodextrin is 1.7% of it, sorbitol is 1.5% of it, and so on. Now, if this ingredient list was bigger, if it was like halfway, if like the ingredient list was like halfway of this, all the ingredients in this could literally add up to like 35% of what's in the product, but it literally like vegetable glycerin 1.5, if these are all 1.5, so 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90, 105, this means that, if these are all 1.5% each, that means that just these ingredients are 10% of the product. But when you look at this, like, anyone's going to see, oh, okay, that means that there's, like, all this adds up to 2%. That's what I thought. That's what it comes off across as. So that's why, like, it's also, you really need to think about, like, let's say you're addicted. Jesus. You're allergic to zucchini, let's say. And zucchini is on this list, okay? Now, you could think, okay, there isn't going to be that much zucchini. Maybe you're not that allergic. There can't be that much zucchini in here because it's 2% or less. But that can mean, like, if it's the first one, that can mean there's literally 2% of the whole thing is made out of zucchini, okay? And if you're, like, there's a huge difference between this being all added up to 2% or rather than each ingredient could be 2% or less. Just to show you how deceptive it could be if this ingredient list was a lot more, like, let's say that the 2% of less is right here, okay? And there's all this, that's it. You could think that, like, this is, like, all the ingredients. Yeah, let me change the color. All the ingredients up here are way more. There are way more of the ingredients in the yellow box than the ones in the blue box. But actually, considering that these are all 2% or less, if there's like, 20 ingredients that could literally add up to like 30 or 40% of the product, while like thinking that these are all the ones that are mostly in the product. I feel like this is just a cheap way for companies to sneak things that are cheap or worse for you, that will make the company more money down here, and you'll kind of brush it off because you think that it's not as much as what's in there. Like, for an example, let's say you have a pizza, okay? And the pizza up here, you can see that the first ingredient is cheese. So you're like, okay, cool. That means that, although that means that most of it's cheese, right? But then if you go down to 2% or less, and the first one is imitation cheese product, okay? Now, that means that there's 2% or less of that imitation cheese product. Now, it could be like 1.9% imitation cheese. Now, I don't want any imitation cheese, okay? But if you look at that, you could just be like, okay, well, that could just be like a few fucking like grains, like maybe like in production it just fell on, and they're like, well, we gotta have to say it because it could be on there. But no, I mean, it's just deceptive for companies and for the consumer. Now that wraps up the video of me bringing you the facts to nutrition facts. Alright, now since that was probably the lamest thing I've ever said, I'm just going to end this video here. If you learned something, if you liked the video, if if you think I have a funny face, whatever, just like the video, send me a subscribe. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate all your guys' nice comments. Very welcoming comments. It gives me a lot of motivation to do more videos. So yeah, just I hope you have a great day, and see you guys later.